and welcome to the first video in our series, Mastering Fractions. Today, we're going to explore the fascinating world of fractions. Whether you're just starting out or need a refresher, this is the perfect place to begin. So, let's dive in. What are fractions? Imagine you have a pizza divided into 8 equal slices. If you eat 3 slices, how much of the pizza have you eaten? That's where fractions come in. Fractions are a way of representing parts of a whole. A fraction consists of 2 parts, the numerator and the denominator. The numerator is the number of parts you have, and the denominator is the total number of parts in the whole. In our pizza example, if you eat 3 out of 8 slices, the fraction is 3/8, written as point. Why are fractions important? Fractions are everywhere. From sharing a cake equally with friends to following a recipe or even dividing your time, fractions help us make sense of the world around us. Mastering fractions will make math easier and much more practical. Types of fractions. Now, not all fractions are the same. Let's explore 3 main types of fractions. Proper fractions. In a proper fraction, the numerator is smaller than the denominator. For example, is a proper fraction because 3 is less than 8. It represents a part smaller than the whole. Improper fractions. An improper fraction has a numerator that is equal to or greater than the denominator. For instance, means you have more than one whole. Mixed numbers. A mixed number combines a whole number and a proper fraction. For example, one represents one whole and half of another. Visualizing fractions. Visuals can make fractions easier to understand. Let's look at a circle divided into 4 equal parts. Shading 1 part gives us, while shading 3 parts gives us. Another way to understand fractions is by placing them on a number line. For example, is exactly halfway between 0 and 1. Real-world examples. Let's explore some real-world examples. When baking, you might use a recipe that calls for cup of sugar or cup of milk. In time, we often split an hour into quarters, like 15 minutes, which is of an hour. Fractions are also useful in measurements, like when you see a road sign that says the next turn is of a mile away. Common mistakes and misconceptions. Before we wrap up, let's clear up some common mistakes. Confusing numerator and denominator. Remember, the numerator is the part and the denominator is the whole. Mixing up improper fractions and mixed numbers. Always check if a fraction can be converted into a mixed number. Forgetting to simplify. Fractions should be reduced to their simplest form whenever possible. Let's quickly recap what we've learned today. Fractions represent parts of a whole. They consist of a numerator and a denominator. There are 3 types: proper fractions, improper fractions, and mixed numbers. And fractions are all around us in our daily lives. In the next video, we'll dive into simplifying fractions and finding equivalent ones. Be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss it. And don't forget to practice what we covered today.